Hi, this is Jerry Clark, CEO and President of Club Rhino Incorporated. I just wanted to share a word or two with you before we get started. You are about to be immersed with about 60 minutes of some of the most critical information available in our industry on the topic of getting your network marketing business started right. The person who will be sharing this information with you, Robert Butwin, has spent over 15 years in the network marketing trenches, learning, applying, and teaching these powerful concepts. Not only has it earned him millions of dollars as a distributor, but has also given him much fame and recognition as one of our industry's top leaders. And since Robert is so grateful for what he's gotten by being involved in this industry, he wants to give back. Therefore, Robert wants to give you absolutely free his overhead projector notes, which he prepared for this presentation. So after listening to this tape, if you want Robert's overhead projector notes, simply send $2 to cover the postage and handling to Club Rhino. You will find our address on the front of this tape, or you can get our address by visiting our website at www.clubrhino.net. So are you ready to get started? Fantastic.
Are certainly in for a treat right now. The presentation that you are about to have right now is going to impact you in a way that you cannot even imagine just yet. You heard Blaine Elkers come up here and give you a very exciting, professional presentation. And he talked to you about being in the right place in the right time. And a critical part of your success is the way you help people get started in this business, isn't it? You want to start in a manner you plan to continue. And when you create dreams and hope in people's hearts and minds that this business is the place to be, you have a responsibility to make sure that that happens. And we, as a company, have a responsibility to put people up on this stage that have spent years making mistakes and learning from them, educating themselves, talking to leaders, attending seminars. That is our pledge to you, is that we promise to provide for you on the stage at these events meaningful, powerful training, nuts and bolts that you can put right into your life. And we have a gentleman who is a professional trainer. He's a master at network marketing. He is an author of the book, Street Smart Networking. How many of you have read Street Smart Networking? This book, if you have not read it, you must read it. I read this book about 7 years ago, and I loved it so much. Jarman kept saying, Janine, you got to read this book. You're going to love this guy. You're going to read this book. And I read it, and I got so excited before I could even finish reading it. When I got to the part where he explains about how you train people, from my experience reading his book, I knew he was right on, and that anybody could be successful, anybody in this business, if they read that book. And I got on the phone and called him. I started talking to him and I asked him to come out to one of our conventions in Scottsdale, and he did so. Only then was a flicker in my heart of hope that someday I would be working this closely with a master networker, Mr. Robert Butwin.
Thank you. You should all, or most of you at this point, should have some presentations of the slides that I'm going to be having up here, and that is designed so that you're able to take notes, so that you can keep totally focused on the things that I'm saying. Okay, what I want to do today is focus on how to help people properly get started in this business and everything that I've learned. And this came to me because of the last program that Bonnie and I successfully built. We had two people in our downline that would continually question our upline, wondering how I was having so much fun and what appeared to be not working very hard, but in the same time having the kind of success that we were having. And what I want to let everybody in on is the secrets that I've learned of how to be able to do that and how to get people properly started in the business. One of the key things to properly get people started is they need to realize the fun that you're having in this business. Because if they take a look at what you're doing and it seems like there's an effort, they're not going to want to join you. So that's one of the first things that you need to know about getting started. The next thing that you need to know about getting started is you need to learn what to do and then find others that you can teach what you've learned what to do. So the first thing is you need to become a master student and then become a teacher of what you've learned how to do. That's the next thing that you need to do to get people to get started properly in the business. And I'm going to give you a complete outline as we go through. The next thing that I've learned about getting people properly started in the business is to use the proper tools. I mean, we've got tools that will influence people to get into the business, but one of the reasons why I was able to continually have the kind of lifestyle that we've been able to live is because I continually focus people on the right tools. Because see, the key about tools is they've got the consistency of a message. Be it if it's my book, if it's Jerry's tape series of High Achievement Network Marketing, or even this tape that I'm in the process of creating that you'll be able to get through Club Rhino. But see, that way you've got the consistency of a message. So that's what I take a look at. And then the last thing is developing some kind of system or methodology that people can follow. Now, there's been many trainers in this industry that talk about a system of getting people started, and they try to compare that system similar to what you take a look at as a franchise. Like you walk into a McDonald's, and every time you walk into a McDonald's, you've got the consistency no matter where that is. Unfortunately, because we're in the people business, everybody's different, right? So the key in a system is you need to have flexibility with specific intent. When I heard that, it was like a light bulb went on. Flexibility with specific intent. The specific intent is to properly get somebody started in the business. And that's what I'm in the process of covering. Let's take a look at the area of proper starting. You've got to help them develop a strategy. Now, depending upon their circumstances, we're going to go into that a little later today. We will determine how a little bit to alter that strategy. You have to help them gain knowledge. As I consistently start people off in the business, as they're starting off using the products, and of those people that have shown me that they want to become something more than a customer, I continually feed them the knowledge that will allow them to grow into the person that they need to be so that they can attract the wealth that I know that's going to come to them from doing this business. So I continually feed them knowledge. I help them develop the proper actions. I help them get going. And then ultimately, I want to make sure that they're able to accomplish the results that they're looking for in this business. As we're talking about the system, when I saw Jerry Clark, he came up with this concept about the system. You need to have a system-driven process that incorporates current technology that will penetrate the cocoon and create self-sufficient distributors that are aware of the tools and techniques that are available to them so that they can earn the income that they desire. You need to also develop proper leadership that will teach the skills so that someone can grow as fast and as big as they want. And to exhibit proper leadership, you need to be the example that you want others to become. I saw Jerry when he wrote that, and I said, that's really right on, and that's what this business is about. So let's take a look at actually getting started. 80% of my time today is going to probably be specifically concentrated on getting started. Part of getting started is also to teach people to expose, to be the mentor of others, and ultimately live this business. Unfortunately, a lot of the times that what we try to do in this business as we're trying to get people started, we try to force somebody to do something that they don't want. So let's take a look at when you're going to start somebody off to do this business. That's when they raise their hand through whatever prompting that you've done that says, yes, I want more out of this business. And that's how you focus on who you want to get started in this business. The first thing that I want to do when I want to get somebody started in this business is I want to make sure that they've got the proper resources. If they tell me they want to get started, I know that they want to do this as a business. That being the case, that they want to do it as a business, I want to make sure they've got the proper resource. The first thing that I want to make sure that they've got, because if they're going to be in business, they need to have business cards, because there's many times as you're networking through life and you're going to come across people, you have a great conversation and you've got the opportunity, to give them a card. And let me just show you a quick example of the card that we've got. We've got a $1 million bill folded over with a quick marketing message inside, because what you ultimately want people to do is once you give them a business card, you want them to be able to get back to you. You want to be able to exchange cards with them so that you've got the ability to get back to the other people. The next thing beyond business cards that I feel that is probably the most critical thing to do this business successfully is three-way calling. I could not even think about being able to do this business without three-way calling. So you want to make sure that the other person sets themselves up with three-way calling. Three-way calling will only cost $3-4 a month. The other area that I want to make sure that they've got is the ability to tape record the conversations. If I'm going to mentor somebody, I want to make sure that they've got the ability to tape record. And there's a variety of reasons why that is the case. First of all, the average person speaks at about 150 words a minute. The average person thinks at about 450 words a minute. What that means is, quite often when you're speaking to other people, we've gotten into the conditioning of allowing our mind to wander. That's one aspect. The other aspect is in the beginning stages of training somebody. There are certain things that you're going to come to that at the time that you're explaining it to somebody, it's not necessarily going to make as much sense as it will 3 to 6 months later. So if they've got the ability to tape record your conversations, and when I'm talking about the ability to tape record your conversations, I'm talking about on how to do the business only. That's the only thing that I want them to focus on, tape recording, not in talking about products or anything else like that. But I want them, as we're focusing on what we need to do to get them up and going and successful in the business, that they've got the ability to tape record the conversations. The next thing that they need to have is some kind of time management tool. Because I want to make sure that when we make appointments to do whatever we're going to do, that we're on the same page. When I started off, my time management tool was just a notebook. When I first got involved in this business, just to show you how human I really am, is within the first 6 months, my wife is in the back of the room and she will totally attest to what I'm saying. The one thing I learned about this business is how much debt you could create. And I was more than busted when we originally started in the industry, because I saw the dream and I realized I wanted to go for it hook, line, and sinker. I realized that this was the kind of life that I wanted to do, and I envisioned that. So I'm saying that's why I started off with just a notebook, not necessarily some of the fancy daytime. Where I started off, I had to learn how to become broke before I could become rich. That was just me anyhow.
Okay, I think this will be a great place to stop for a moment to take a 30-second mental break so you can digest all of what you just heard. After that, we'll return with the program.
The next thing is you've got to become a product of the product. And then let me explain why. I remember in the initial days when I started in this business, one of the products in the original company that really I got excited about was their shampoo and conditioner, because it was scented with aromatherapy. And when I was using that shampoo and conditioner on a day-to-day basis when I was taking the showers, it was what was going through my mind. It was like, I'm using this great shampoo, and what the thought was going through my mind was, this is the product that is ultimately going to lead me to the freedom that I know that I'm going to obtain in this business. I knew the products were great, but my mind went right to the next step. I said, because of the fact that these products are so good, I know that they're going to allow me to accomplish the freedom I want in this business. So that's why you've got to become a product of the product. You've got to determine which are the products that you really like. The more products you use, the better you're going to do in the business. Because as you're talking to other people in your organization, and they're going to come to you and say, what do you think about this product? Well, how's it going to sound if you say, I'm not really sure, I don't use that one? Doesn't work too well. You need to experience at least all the products at least once over a period of time. It doesn't mean you have to start off by buying them all, but you've got to become a product of the product. And then you want to set up a business checking account. If you're in business and somebody says to you, yes, I want to be in business, you want to separate your personal funds with the business funds. And then the last thing that I want to make sure of as I'm getting somebody started, because I know the value of my time and I want to make sure I properly spend my time with the right people, is I want to make sure that they've got the desire. I want to make sure that they understand why they really want this business. Because I realize if they're clear on the why they want this business, that's about 80% that they need. See, the how-tos are going to come once you understand the whys. So let's take a look at the other resources necessary as you're getting somebody started in this business. As I said, one of the reasons why I wanted to create this tape today is because a lot of people are going to feel uncomfortable as they're going through some of these areas as you're getting somebody properly started. But you need to understand the person that you're going to be working with, what resources that they're going to bring to the table. And the first resources I want to understand is the fact of what is their contact list. Who do they know that they feel that this business would be appropriate to? If somebody says, well, I don't want to go to my friends or people that I know, what that's telling me is that they really don't have the belief system of what this business is about. And I better start feeding them things so that they understand the great gift that they're able to offer to other people. So I want to understand what is the contact list of the people that they're willing to go to. The second thing that I want to understand is how much money they've got to bring to the table for this business. By the way, money is not crucial. It doesn't matter. If I can work with people that have got no money, I want to clarify that. But you need to ask people how much money, and people will shock you because I know there's one person in this room today, and I asked her permission if I could share the story, and she said that's fine because when she originally came to me and we were looking at doing a mentor-type relationship, I asked, and it's Wendy, I said, Wendy, how much money do you have to bring to the table if you want to do this business? I had no idea, but she says, I've got $10,000. See, I wasn't looking to have her spend the $10,000. We didn't spend the $10,000 right off the bat, did we, Wendy? No, but I needed to know what I was working with. Now, I've had people tell me that they've got $25,000. I've got people that tell me that they're broke. It doesn't matter, but you need to understand the resources somebody's bringing to the table. The next thing that you want is to understand the amount of time that they're going to invest into this business. And that's probably the most important resource available is other people's time, because that's the common denominator that will lead you to the lifestyle is the more that you're able to help other people properly invest their time into this business. And last, once you understand all those, you can help them create a plan that they can put together that will allow them to accomplish their goals. So the next step that you want to take a look at in getting somebody started, because we hit the magic word, is goals. You've got to understand the goals that the person that you're getting started wants out of the business. Once you understand what they're looking for, it doesn't matter what you want for them. They need to understand what they want from the business. You want to help them write those goals down. And the next thing is you want to make sure that they periodically review those plans. And the reason why I know that is because I know a lot of us go through that mental exercise January 1st where we write our goals down. Well, I went through that exercise recently and it just dawned on me that I haven't even really looked at my goals for the whole year. Now, once you know what all goal is something that you're shooting for. Once you understand what you're looking for, then you have to recognize the changes that you're going to have to give up to accomplish what you're looking for. One of the biggest changes that I've come across with average people is they've got to get away from some of the TV time that they're watching. Then you've got to take a look at with your goals. Are they specific? Do they have deadlines? But I want to also let the person know as you're looking at the goals that you want to set everything up as a win-win situation. And what I mean by that is the goal, which is just a target, is set in sand. That it's something that you're aiming for and that you can adjust, because we want to make sure that everybody that we're involved with in this business, we set up to win at the business so that we can obviously adjust them. You got to make them their own as far as their goals. You make them believable. And as Jerry Clark says, you've got to make them stretchable. You want to make sure that they can believe that they can accomplish them, but also make sure that they're stretchable. And you need to be able to feel yourself as you're having this person start off. You've got to continually work on this process of making sure that they feel themselves progressing towards the realization of the goal. And then they need to commit ultimately that they're going to accomplish the goals that you're looking at. You help them visualize, and there's many good tapes out, and I know because I've talked to Jerry that he's in the process, and I'm going to put Jerry on the line for this because he's in the process of coming out with a tape series on visualization as far as how to make sure that you take the reality that you want into making sure that it's a certainty of what you're going to get. And it's about developing the kind of vision that you're looking for. And I know Jerry's going to be doing that, so I'm not going to go into that right now. Once you've got your goals set, you need to be able to work backwards. And the first company that we really succeeded on, it was like, if I just got 5 people that did this, it would translate into this amount of income. If you go out and get 100 customers and you find 5 other people that will go out and make the same commitment to getting 100 customers, what that's going to translate in approximation, it's going to translate into about a $4,000 a month income for you. By finding 5 business builders that you work with, that you go out and each of those business builders get 100 customers and you get 100 customers. Remember, the majority of your customers are not going to do anything more than continually on a month-to-month basis buy these products. That's all they are. One company that we were real successful in, 50% of all the distributors, the customers, that's all they did. They bought month to month. They never brought anybody else into this business. And that's why, as we're looking at properly getting somebody started, you want to make sure that you find the people that really want to get started in the business, because otherwise it's going to just frustrate you if you're trying to make somebody else get started in the business that they don't want. Now, there's ways to involve and upgrade those people, which I'll cover in a little bit. The key is you're setting your goals. And this is one thing that I had to learn as I went through the process. I remember our original goal was I wanted to make enough money to be able to leave my job. Then my next goal was to make $10,000 a month. Then it was like 20. It's amazing when you get from peak to peak to peak. As the song goes, the bear goes over the mountain. Realize as you're setting your goals, as you're getting closer and closer to those goals, you're going to continually adjust those goals. As you're taking a look and you're helping to get this person started properly, what you want them to do is, first of all, you want them to see their goal. You want them to think about their goal. You want them to speak about it. And see, as you're doing these 3 processes, see, think, and speak, you're using all of your senses, the audio, the visual, the kinesthetic. And if you're using those processes properly, ultimately the net end result is you're going to bring about your goal. I want to share with you a couple quotes that I came across because I think they're so relevant. And the first one was by Jim Rohn, and I know that Blaine mentioned Jim earlier today. And it goes back, if you go to work on your goals will go to work on you. If you go to work on your plan will go to work on you. Whatever good things we build end up building us. And the other thing that was relevant to the fact of, getting 100 customers and finding 5 people to get 100 customers, you've got to have them believable, as I said earlier. If you'll pay the price, if you believe the promise. I mean, if we know undoubtedly that we can't fail in this business, which the only way you can actually fail is by giving up. So as long as you continually gain the insight and knowledge and you know that you can't fail, and just focus on what you need to do to bring that into reality. One of the biggest problems is a lot of the times people have false expectations in doing this business. And the best way to do it is give everybody a real life example. And the way to do that is I want everybody, because I know that we've got a crowd of people here that are very serious, accomplished people. And I know that everybody has become very accomplished at many different things, but I want you to think for a minute. Think of something that you have really become a master at. You're succeeded at, at the highest level. It might be parenting. It might be a particular sport, playing a musical instrument, whatever that is. So I want you to think about that for a minute. You got that in your mind? Okay. Now of what you've become very good at, think of how long it took you to get to the skill level that you're at in the thing that you're very good at. You've got that number in your mind. Now let's take a survey. Was there anybody in this room that has done that in less than 6 months? Okay, nobody. How about 1 year? A year and a half? You can raise your hands when we get to this number. 2 years. Okay, I got a couple people in 2 years. We don't need to carry it on any further, but you see, after 2 years, 3 or 4 people out of 250 people became accomplished. And we want success in this business yesterday. Can it happen? Yeah, it can happen. I mean, we can get lucky. We can get that fast success, but you need to have the proper expectation. As we're going to continually educate the people that we're getting started in this business by properly feeding them the right tools, I want to cover some of the areas that your brand new person that's starting off in this business, some of the areas that they're going to have resistance to, so that you know how to help them get over that resistance, either by handing them this tape or by covering it yourself. Why would you want to spend like an hour that I'm covering right now? And this is one of the valuable parts of tools. Instead of spending that hour with somebody, when you can give them the right tool, when they come across that right tool so they can hand it to somebody, that way you're spending 5 minutes and you're focusing more on the person that you're going to be starting off in the business, because as people know how much you care, they're going to go to the finish line for you. And you want to focus totally on caring about the people that are in your organization. Let's take a look at some of the areas that people have resistance to in this business. One of them is fear. As you take a look at fear, the best way that I've learned how to fear is just cover it head on. Because as you face fear, I don't care if it's fear of success, fear of failure, whatever that is, fear will always dissipate 100% of the time. So I'm not going to cover that. The next one is, going to your friends. What that tells me is that they don't have the proper belief system. And quite often I'll give some kind of a metaphor. And the metaphor I like to give over this one is, if all of a sudden you discovered a gold mine in your backyard, and all you had to do to be able to spend all that gold is be able to take the gold from the gold mine and bring it out, and there's more gold than you could ever spend. The question that I want everybody to think about is, how would you do it? Would you call up your local paper, call the classified and put an ad in the classifieds, or would you call people that you care about? That story, that analogy is the reason why I believe that we want to bring to our friends. If our belief systems are there, that we know that the products are as good as that we know that they are, and we know that this business opportunity is as good as it is because that they're going to supply us the right insight and the right knowledge that will allow us to succeed, why wouldn't we want to bring it to our friends? Area as far as the resistance that I'm going to cover the most on as we're going to go into is the salesman syndrome. But the other areas I'm going to cover real quickly are the stigma in the industry, no time for the business. I don't want to do nutritional products. I don't have any money, past experience. Let's focus on sales, because I believe that's probably the biggest perception that we face as people take a look at this business. And what I learned early on is, if you realize that there's an area of perception, you want to cover it in your presentation. I've spoken in front of audiences across North America, and in all the audience I've ever spoken, I usually ask the audience one question. Now, that one question, out of all the audiences that I've ever asked that question to, I've had 100% of the audience raise their hand to that question. Now, I bet you didn't realize how good I am at reading minds, because I can read the minds that are going on right now. What could that question be? Well, let me see if I can keep my statistics intact. How many of you have been taken advantage of at least once in your life in the sales process? Let's see by a show of hands. Is there anybody that hasn't had that happen? You're dealing with perception about selling. As people take a look at this business, what I want to do is properly reframe how you look at the sales process and what this business is really about. And a friend of mine once sent me this cartoon, and it's about a guy that's got probably the most obnoxious looking suit on, sitting across the desk from a personnel person. And the caption underneath it, if you can't read it, it says, "We're looking for an aggressive, tenacious salesperson, like, for instance, the person that sold you that suit." It just revalidates what people look at about the selling process. So let's take a look at part of the reason why that exists in our society. First of all, most of the people in the selling process are in a survival mode. All they're looking to do is get the short-term commission right now. Where we contrast in this business is, this is a relationship business. It's a long-term process with people. And that's part of how this differs from the normal selling process. The other aspect of this business is we take a look at what are we really selling to other people. And as that becomes clear and you understand what you're really selling to people that you're getting involved in this business, this is my best guess. I believe 80% of what you're really selling to other people is yourself, because they're going to buy you before they buy anything else that you ever have to say. So as you focus on that, the second thing that we're selling is you're selling them that there's a system, a methodology, that you can teach them what they need to do in a way that they can fit that into their life and be able to be successful in this business. You're also selling them that if they are open to take a look at an alternative, that we've got an alternative way that they can develop a stream of income into their life. I love those words, stream of income. They're saying one picture paints 1,000 words, but that just vividly brings it into somebody's picture of what this business is. We can help them develop a stream of income into their life. And the next thing is It's not the people that need the business. As soon as you can realize this, it's not the people that need the business. It's the people that want the business. And that's the people you want to focus on. And let me tell you a true story that happened to me about a year and a half ago as I was driving in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I was driving down Scottsdale Road, and I happened to drive a Mercedes. And there was a lady as I was driving down Scottsdale Road that was hitchhiking. And so I figured there was somebody that obviously needed a ride. This is where my mindset was. I should pick her up. So I stopped to pick her up. She gets into the car. Her first question as she got into the car was, "Are you a police officer?" Now, I didn't quite get it yet, but by the second question, I got it. Let me tell you, my first response was, why would she have to be doing something like this? I says, I obviously refused what she was looking for, but I said, let's spend maybe a half an hour and go over. There's a restaurant right over here. Are you hungry? And maybe I could buy you lunch. Because I was wondering, why was she doing what she was doing? Common thing. And so we got there to have a bite to eat. And so I started questioning her why she's doing it, why she's doing what she's doing. She tells me that she really would like to make a change. She's not happy doing what she's doing. I says, oh, really? Well, if you could think about whatever you'd want to do, what would you want to be doing? She didn't even hesitate. She said, I would love to be into telemarketing. Honest story, true story. I said, well, let me tell you a little bit about who I am. I gave her a little bit about my background and credentials. By the way, I had a copy of my book. I said, I'll give you a copy of my book. I said, I'll even put some money into helping you successfully develop a business if you're interested. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call me later. How many of you here today feel that she ever called me? A few people. Well, you guys are wrong. She never called me. Yeah. Yes. And it was. The point is, it's not who needs the business because she needed the business. You've got to focus on the people that want the business, and that's the key. Let's get a little bit more clear about what we're really selling, because it goes back to certain things have stood the test of time that, we've all got that human desire, and there's certain things that us as humans have always wanted. We wanted them 100 years ago. We wanted them 200 years ago. Now, as I listened to a friend of mine talk about it, he says the definition of these slightly change. For example, 100 years ago or 200 years ago, what was considered beautiful was to be a plump lady. Now, the definition of that has changed, but there are certain elements that humans always want, and there are security, longevity, lifestyle, vanity. Take a look at and realize how many of those items up there that we have to offer to other people. See, human desires transcend all time. What we've got to offer people is going to be relevant today. As relevant as it is today, it's going to be even more relevant 20, 30, 50, 100 years from today. So we've got what everybody in reality needs. So let's take a look at, the areas of resistance. The key is understanding whatever the resistance the person has and cover it in your presentation. Let me give you another example. I was getting on a flight one time. It was like I was the first one on the flight, and there was this flight attendant 2 rows over, and I was walking up into first class, and our eyes connected, and we started a conversation. And we were just really jamming. We were hitting it on all levels. After about 3 minutes, 4 minutes into that conversation, she says, "You must be into selling." And I don't know where she came up with that, and I don't even know where I came up with the response from there. But I says, I'm really not into selling, because as I take a look at what we do in this business, I don't look at it as a selling process. And what my response was to her was, no, what I am into is into giving, because that's what I take a look at this business. We give people information that can change their life in many different areas. Information that from the products that we represent to the fact that we can empower them, that they can take control of their life. So the key is understanding where people are, because people hate to be sold to. But, and here's the opposite of that, people love to buy. So as people have clarity about this business, people are going to get involved. So many people in the sales process, and I'm almost done with the sales process. Most of the people in the sales process have things sold to them, not with them. Most of the people that are in selling don't open them up and explore who they are. So the key is you've got to be able to sell with them. I want to share with you a demonstration because as we're taking a look at selling, and I know I'm spending a lot of time on it because I feel it's that important. But where this business is different than the selling is, see, what we do is we're recommending and promoting something that we know has tremendous value. A while back, I saw a demonstration, and this is why you need to be clear on your communications with people. What I'd like everybody to do is to take the thumb and the finger right next to the thumb and put it together in a form of a 0 or an O. Now, as you're doing this, what I would like everybody to do is I would like you to put these 2 fingers on your chin. And how many of you have got it on the chin and how many of you have got it on your cheek? The reason why I do that demonstration is if you're giving off mixed messages to the people that you're bringing into the business. See, the key in this business is we teach people to buy direct. We're not there to sell them the product. We teach them how to buy. If we're giving out mixed messages and you're into the retail product, which I feel is the short term in the business, the key is helping people get the best value that they can for the product, which is becoming a wholesale consumer. That's what I've learned, and that's what I totally believe in. The key is to recommend and promote, which is what I said earlier, and to realize that consistency in your message. Okay, well, let's take a look at the network marketing industry. I remember as I was walking one time and I was talking to a person, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, and you know, they say, well, what do you do? And you say, well, I'm in the network marketing business because I believe in being as straight and clear in my communications as I know possible. So I let everybody know I'm in the network marketing business. For any of you that have ever done it and you can watch body language just slightly, have you ever had the experience when you say, well, I'm in network marketing, where you sort of feel like the person sort of like did one of these, you know, almost fell over backwards? I'm sure you've seen that kind of reaction. Let me share with you how to handle that situation if and when that ever happens. First of all, what I've done and what's succeeded for myself is when that happens, as I say to the person, you know, I can tell by the way your body tensed up, how you almost fell away from me, that you have either had a bad experience in network marketing or you've got a misperception. Is that correct? So I basically throw my cards on the table. That will open them up and start doing the talking. From there, I'm able to take it to the next area because I realize that if people, for whatever reason, have this negative perception about network marketing, that's because they clearly don't understand this business. Because I know that if people truly, legitimately understood this business, everybody would be involved in it. Because first of all, the government subsidizes people to get involved in this business. That's the first thing. Because most people, 98% of the people that are working a job don't have the tax write-offs that the average person has in business. That's the first thing. The second thing is this business is basically doing what we already are doing, but don't make any money at it. And what I mean by that is you found something that your beliefs are so strong in the value of what you have, and all you're doing is letting other people know about it. And isn't that what is natural to us as people? You know, when you think about it for a second, when there's something that you really like, doesn't it make you feel good by letting other people know about it because you know of the value? That's what this business is really about. You know, a lot of times as people take a look at this business, they'll say, well, you know, if this goes exactly the way you're telling me it's going to go, we're going to hit saturation. Has anybody ever heard that one? Not too long ago, there was a new president that took over at the helm of Coca-Cola. And as he started his tenure there, he made a challenge to the salespeople that were in the most highly concentrated area of where Coke was, that they needed to go out and I think it was open up 5 new accounts in that area. And they were all able to do it. Here you've got a major company, Coca-Cola. They've never hit saturation. I don't know of any corporate America company that has ever hit saturation. What you need to do when people have these issues is relate it to them in a way that they says, yes, that makes sense. Because if you cover it straight on like a professional, they're going to realize that you are a professional. The biggest reason they need us in this business is because the average consumer, with all the marketing messages that we get bombarded with on a day in and day out basis, have developed this thick skin. And see, the company realizes, but they've got people like us that they are able to properly communicate that message rather than letting these valuable products get lost on the store shelf. That's why they need us to do this business. And they're willing to pay the advertising dollars that they would normally pay if they decided to go the traditional marketing way. But they realize that these products need that time to be explained to other people so that people, can properly start off and use the products properly. Anyhow, when I come across people that still are negative about the industry, I know from either Upline or there's a variety of different sources. I think it was March of 92, there was a great article in Success Magazine, and every month from there on in, they have been taking different success stories of people that have accomplished great degrees of success, and they've got a reprint of it, because obviously what I'm looking at doing for a person that's got a resistance in a particular area is I want to give them the information so that they can see things the way that I know that they are. The other thing that I like to do is I like to contrast network marketing with the history of where franchising was. I don't know how many of you realize it, but franchising back in the 1950s was like 11 votes short of being classified illegal by the Congress in the United States. And look at where it is today. 1/3 of the GNP is based from franchising. So, the key about network marketing is it's a new paradigm. It's a new paradigm of doing business. I'm not sure of how many of you are aware of what happened with the Swiss watches, where they're looking at making a shift from the Swiss watch controlled the watch market. And they had a particular paradigm of how they saw business, and they turned on this new technology. Instead of the people that created this technology went over to the Japanese, the people from Japan, and introduced to the technology. And what happened was there's a major shift that happened. That's where I believe network marketing is going to be. See, network marketing is based on cooperation. It's based on empowering other people, helping people take control of their life, gain that back. It's based on abundance, rather than that lack or poverty type consciousness. And it's also based on the redistribution of wealth. That's what this whole business is. And once you grasp that concept, you're going to become an unstoppable force in this industry. A friend of mine, John Kalich, wrote a book, and I totally believe the title of what he wrote in this book. This business is the greatest business opportunity in the history of the world. As I said, making money doing what we're already doing.
Okay, you're probably ready for another 30-second mental break, aren't you? So sit back, enjoy, and then we'll be back to finish up the program.
So let's take a look as you're getting the people started in the business so that they've got clarity and they understand what you're looking for from them. You're looking for their time in this business. You're looking for their energy. You're looking for their effort, their focused attention. Because this business is based upon developing a partnership and developing the synergy of that partnership, which means the two of you working together will become greater than the whole of what one of you could do by itself. And the key in this business, as J. Paul Getty said, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts rather than 100% of my own efforts. Part of the key to the success that I've been able to live is because I've been able to effectively work with and through other people. Another one that you quite often are going to get in the field is, I don't have time to do this business. That's one of the key reasons why you need to integrate this business into what they're already doing. Let me give you a couple ways of handling I don't have the time to do this business. I really appreciate that, Jim, and that's why I'm talking with you. We have designed a system so busy people like you can do this business. It's based on leverage of other people's time. As I give you an example of this, I'm just giving you a frame reference. You've obviously got to use your own words and speak from the heart as you're discussing that. The next one is, of course you don't have time, Jim, and that's why I'm talking with you. The system we use is designed for busy people, and I want you to know about it because I don't want you to ever have to tell me again that you don't have the time to do the kinds of things that are real meaningful in life. You need to understand how to handle the different resistance that come, because see, once you understand how to handle, I don't have money, I don't have time, is this network marketing, then you're never going to really run across them, because you know how to handle them. It's like you've got the sign on your forehead. Come on, let me know about that. I don't have time, I don't have the money, because you enjoy being able to help somebody see things from a different perspective. If they don't have time, I might just point out something like that. If you get up 30 minutes a day earlier, we've got an extra 7.5 days in your waking world. So, the key is helping people see things from a different perspective. Nutritional products. I love this cartoon. For those of you that can't see it, it's a cow talking to a bird, and it says, "It's true, I did jump over the moon. I had way too much coffee that day." The reason that's so relevant is, and the reason why I love nutritional products, is because I see how many people abuse their system by the things of putting the wrong things into their system. There's an old story that really tells us the need to help people recognize why they need nutritional products. And it was about a particular CEO. And this CEO was looking to expand his marketplace. He was looking at being able to go into Africa to see what he could do as far as business. So he calls his top 2 vice presidents. And he says, I'd like to expand our marketplace. I'd like you to go over Africa to take a look at what's going on there, if it would be a viable market for us. So they both go over there. And after the first day, the first vice president calls the CEO back and he says, "Boss, I've got to come home. Nobody's wearing shoes. There's no market." The following day, the other vice president, I can see that you've already seen the end of the story. The following vice president calls the boss. And he says, "Boss, we better send the people in production over here immediately. Nobody's wearing shoes. Tremendous market." Everything goes as how you look at things. Because what I've learned as a smart entrepreneur is you want to be on the right side of trends. The key in trends is approximately 8 to 10 years ago, 36% of our population was using some kind of nutritional supplements. Today, from the studies I've seen, 50% of our population is now using nutritional supplements. So I realize the trend that you need to be on. The next thing is the vanity of the boomers. As the baby boomers are getting to that age period, and there are more and more of them there, they're becoming much more conscious of how they look, how they feel, and they want to slow down the aging process. And I take a look at the fast foods, the fast food industry. What we have is the fast food of nutritional products, products that they can take on the run, and so that they don't have to miss a beat. But let's take a look at they don't have the money. What I want to do here is help them realize that's the reason they need to do the business, because they don't have the money, so that they don't have to deal with that scenario again. And when somebody tells me they don't have the money, I help them through creativity. And I know many of you have seen the 9 dots, where you've got 3 dots, 3 dots, and 3 dots, and tell them to connect 4 lines and connect all the 9 dots. And you've got to go outside of the box. So I help people realize how they have to go outside of the box to find the money. And I realize the money isn't the real example. And I can pick on Doug because I've known Doug. And if, say, Doug was the person here that said to me, "I don't have money." And what I like to do is reframe him. I says, "Doug, I understand what you're saying. Money's real tight. Let me ask you a question, if that's okay. I happen to drive a Mercedes, and we're only talking about $200. If I would be able to sell you my Mercedes for $200, as long as you came up with $200 by the end of the day, would you be able to come up with it?" I think everybody in this room would be in agreement that they would figure out some way. Why? Because they understand the value of the Mercedes. What they don't understand is the value that what their life would be like where they didn't have to trade their time for dollars and work for somebody else. So it's just helping people see things from a different perspective. If they really don't have the money, my guess is they've got accumulative assets. We can always do a garage sale. That's an easy way to get some money. If they've been in network marketing before, you need to help them explore a couple different areas, understand where they've been, why they didn't succeed. Was it their belief systems? Was it the knowledge? Was it the action? And you have to help them realize that whatever they were missing, between yourself and the team of people that you're working with, that you're going to help them be able to cover whatever they were missing. You don't let past failures stop in your success. And I always like to relate to things that other people can relate to. And, as I'm talking to somebody that has been not necessarily successful in this industry and so to speak has given up, I'll say, Jim or Judy or whoever, I know that you're an open-minded person. As being an open-minded person, I realize that you wouldn't allow necessarily some of your past to allow you from accomplishing what you're really looking for. And then I might give them a scenario, because I like to use the dating relationships, because I know most people have experienced them. And I know most people can relate to the question that I'm going to ask them. And how I use the dating relationship, I say, have you ever gone through the dating aspect of a relationship? And they'll say, yes. Were all your dates good? Now, I've had one or two people say, yes, the first person I started dating, I fell in love with and I married them. But that's a rare exception. I'll say, were all the dates that you had in the dating relationship good? And they'll obviously say no. I said, well, did that stop you from continually going through the dating relationship? You're open-minded. See, they can relate to that. I say, let's take a look at, you've been in this business before. Let me share with you why I'm different. By working with you, it will be different than the outcome that you had before. And just remember, the only way that you're going to fail is by quitting in this business. If you stick around long enough, you're destined to succeed. Recently, I know two of the top income earners in other companies. I was listening to their story. One of them had been in the business 19 years and now is making over $100,000 a month in the company. And the other one I think in his initial pieces that he used to put out for people, he said he'd been with 9 or 10 other companies and he had failed. And now he's making over $50,000 a month. See, they always failed forward. What you want to think about is if the company would go out of business tomorrow, which is not the case, but I'm saying just think about this. If for whatever reason the company would go out of business tomorrow, would you want to call the company up and see how you could send whatever products that you've got at home back? Or would you want to call the company and see how many of the products that they've got that they could ship you? That's how you tell if you're with the right company, because they've got life-changing products and why they're unique and their USP, the exclusivity of the products. Let's take a look at the benefits of this as we whip through this list. There's no bookkeeping, because as you're showing people why they need to be involved, no payroll, no employees, no inventory, no paperwork. In fact, the only paperwork that I do in this business is sign the back of my check. Everything else is automated, basically. Minimal overhead, ease of entry. It's very easy for people that can start off with minimal or little dollars and develop massive fortunes in this business. No shipping of products, flexible hours. In one of the articles when I was written up, I said, in the bottom of the article, I said, my office hours are between 8 and 11:15. I don't care if at 11:15 the President of the United States calls me, I'm not in. Part of what's very precious to me, and that's why I love the theme about balanced living, is because of the fact, it's basketball. That's where I met Doug, we were playing basketball. And where I met Blaine, we were playing basketball together. I just believe that, so much into what I represent that I want to tell people that I care about and that I like and that I want to work with on a long-term basis. So flexible hours, minimal to no cost training. Look at the caliber of training that you got. I know how much Jerry Clark charges to come and speak for an hour. I know what the value of his time is. I know what the value of my time is. And look at that in relationship to what you spent for this whole weekend. It's like no cost in reality if you look at it that way. Because if you're going to get Jerry's and my consultation and some of the other people that have succeeded, people like Cave, people like Blaine, the people that have shared their insight and wisdom, Marlis, I could go on and on this weekend. You got millions of dollars of information for next to nothing. There's no boss. You are your own boss. That could be a dichotomy. It could be good or bad. It depends upon how you look at it. Shortest commute in the world. This is a home-based business. I office out of my home. Ease of shopping. I like the idea of being able to pick up the phone and say, send me the products I want. It saves me going into the nutritional products. Leverage time to live. I'm living life to the fullest. That's the beauty of once you become very successful in this business, is you've got the time to really live life of meaning. The key to your networking business is understanding the value, the company, the products, and ultimately that you bring to other people. When we're wrapping up the aspect of objections, the key in objections is you want to listen to them, understand where they're at, feel them, repeat it back to them if there's a question so that the communication is straight. Question them to make sure that that understanding is there, understand where they're at. And if everything else fails, go to the cliche that's always stands the test of time, which is feel, felt, found. I know how you feel about whatever, but you need to help people work through their objections. Let's pretty well wrap it up, because the next thing is about exposing. I know the key area about exposing this business to other people, because see, once they've gone through this part of getting somebody started, now they're ready to go out expose this business to other people. There's a variety of different methodologies. I know Jerry's got a tape on his back table, Secrets to the Money Funnel and How It Can Make You Riches, which is how I meet people as you go through life. I know the most effective way that's working in the marketplace is the tape system, because the tape system is very effective. It's working. So I think at this point, rather than trying to go further than what I've got right now, I'm going to stop it right here, and we'll just stop it as far as getting started in the areas that you need to cover as far as helping people get started. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share this insight with you today, and I know that everybody is going to do a super job in this business, and thanks a lot. Thank you.
You see, I told you that you will be immersed with the critical information that you will need to get your network marketing business started right. And since Robert shared so many key points, you might want to listen to this tape over and over again and be sure to take notes. And remember, Robert's overhead projector notes are yours free. All you have to do is send $2 to Club Rhino to cover the shipping and handling. And remember, the address is on the front of this tape. Oh, and while you're at it, you might want to ask for a free Club Rhino catalog. It has more tools by Robert Butwin and other industry leaders that can definitely help you excel in your business. Well, until next time, this is Jerry Clark saying, go, go, go.